I stood rigid as the color guard marched past, the American flag snapping in the mountain breeze of Mountain View, Colorado. My hand instinctively went to my heart. That reflex came from deep inside, forged by my father's 2 tours in Afghanistan and the folded flag they handed Mom at his funeral. But Grant's fingers clamped around my elbow like a vice. "Sit down," he hissed under his breath, his voice low and venomous amid the drum cadence. I didn't move. His palm cracked across my cheek in a sharp, calculated slap that sent me stumbling into the metal folding chairs. The sound cut through the ceremony like a rifle shot. The crowd gasped. Time seemed to freeze on the courthouse lawn that Veterans Day morning. But then something shifted. Roy Calder, a Silver Star recipient who had served with Dad, shifted his rifle and raised his hand in a slow, deliberate salute, not to the officials, but to me. Other veterans followed. A ripple of raised hands spread through the crowd, honoring something real, something Grant Mercer could never fake. That slap was the moment everything changed. My name is Lauren Hale. At 34, I had built a solid career as a compliance officer for Northland Children's Trust, the kind of person who could spot a single mismatched decimal in a 1,000-page audit from across the room. Numbers didn't lie to me. People sometimes did. I never imagined those skills would be used to dismantle the life my mother had rebuilt after Dad's death. 3 hours earlier that morning, the town of Mountain View still clung to the foothills like it always had. Main Street hadn't changed much since I was a kid riding my bike to Veterans Park. The same diner where Dad taught me that generous tips honored hard work. But Grant's house on Elmwood Drive felt foreign, imported stone facade, perfectly manicured lawn, symbols of the mechanical contracting business that had made him a local power player. Mom had called the week before about a minor procedure. Her voice wavered in ways it never did when Dad was alive. Grant Mercer had entered our lives 5 years after the flag-draped coffin ceremony. He presented himself as the steady provider, the community pillar chairing the Mountain View Youth Honor Fund. But controls seeped into everything. Medications scheduled like clockwork. Phone charger moved to his side of the bed so she could rest. Visitors screened through a shared calendar. I arrived that night after the 3-hour drive, laptop packed with work files. Grant answered the door in his pressed khakis and company polo, smile never reaching his eyes. "Lauren." No welcome. Just acknowledgement like checking inventory. Mom looked smaller in the living room, surrounded by get-well cards from the fund. Her wedding ring hung loose. "The surgery went fine," she insisted quickly. Grant had been wonderful. Wonderful meant reorganizing the kitchen, so she needed his help for her pills. Switching her doctor 40 minutes away. Converting Dad's old study into his home office, but leaving one shelf for Dad's challenge coins and service photos. I touched the coin from his last deployment. Heads or tails? We trust our gut. Dad's way of saying instinct mattered. The first week, I watched Grant perform. Morning Facebook posts about caring for my beautiful wife and true service. The same man who had sold Dad's tools for charity last year. Mom cried for days. But Grant produced a receipt for $500 to the youth fund. I later learned the tools were worth $5,000. Small deceptions at first. His office door stayed locked. Phone calls ended abruptly when I entered. The fund's quarterly newsletter boasted programs I never saw in town: veterans' family picnics, honor runs, youth events. Then the bills appeared on the kitchen counter one morning. Catering invoices for $3,000 when Mom mentioned only 20 attendees. Tent rentals for a canceled race still charged at $5,000. One stood out: Whitfield Strategies, LLC. $15,000 for event consultation. The address was a post office box 2 towns away. At breakfast, I kept my tone casual. The youth fund seems busy with all these events. Grant's jaw tightened. We honor our heroes, not Everyone understands the real costs. Mom shifted uncomfortably, echoing his words about how hard he worked for families. Dad would have seen through him instantly, reading people like terrain maps, spotting valleys disguised as mountains. Grant was all calculation wrapped in flag pins. That night in Dad's old room, surrounded by the quiet tick of Mom's clock collection, I started my file. Photos of invoices on my phone, a basic spreadsheet tracking patterns. Whitfield strategies appeared monthly for events that barely existed. Catering for crowds twice the size shown in any photos. Venues owned by Grant's poker buddies at triple rates. The numbers didn't add up. My compliance instincts flared, but I pushed them down. I was there for Mom. Or so I told myself. The changes happened slowly at first, like erosion wearing stone smooth. Grant replaced the lock on the storage room holding Dad's military memorabilia. For security, he said, pocketing the only key. Typed house rules appeared laminated on the fridge. Quiet hours. Approved visitors. No work calls in common areas. It's his house, Mom said softly when I questioned it. He likes things organized. Organized meant rearranging the kitchen so she couldn't reach her own medications without help. Better care, he claimed, when switching her doctor farther away so she couldn't drive herself. Concern masking control. During the day, I handled contracts for Northland. At night, after Grant's precise 10 p.m. bedtime, I photographed more receipts in the kitchen. The patterns grew clearer. Whitfield Strategies LLC, a shell company. I suspected, billed monthly for ghost events. Catering billed for 200 when only 50 showed. One Thursday, I showed Mom a simple chart. 30,000 spent last quarter serving about 70 families. Over $400 per family for basic hot dogs and activities. She stared at the paper. You don't understand these things, Lauren. Overhead costs. Administrative fees. Her voice carried Grant's phrasing now, always suspicious. Always looking for problems. That night at dinner, Grant discussed Flag Day plans with surgical precision. Real recognition for veterans. Not like those city ceremonies. He cut his steak cleanly. Family supports family. Don't you think? The threat lingered unspoken. I smiled. I'd love to help with the books pro bono. Ensure perfect documentation for taxes. His knife paused. Whitfield's thorough work seemed impressive. I added. Silence stretched until Mom filled it nervously. Later, I overheard him through the heating vents. Nothing traceable. Usual codes. She's leaving soon. City people don't last. But I was born in Mountain View, General. Learned to ride in Veterans Park. Watched them lower Dad into local soil. I wasn't going anywhere. I started a timeline. Grant's election as chairman coincided with donation spikes. His marriage to Mom followed her inheritance of Dad's life insurance. Storage cleanouts preceded anonymous donations. An unknown text arrived. Your mother needs you. Stop digging. Grant's office light flicked off shortly after. I replied. She needs the truth. At the bank. Updating signature cards with my credentials. The teller revealed Grant had made himself sole signing authority last year, removing Mom as secretary. I photographed it discreetly. Back home. A framed photo waited on my bed, Grant at last year's ceremony with gold star families. Note. Family is knowing your place. Made in China. Like his patriotism. I uploaded everything to a secure cloud. Photos. Notes. Vent recordings. Dad taught preparation was 9/10 of victory. Grant thought rules and locks caged us. He didn't know some of us were raised to fight. Flag Day arrived with parade music throbbing downtown. Veterans in pressed uniforms contrasted Grant's performative flag pin and red tie. Stay close for photos, he instructed, adjusting Mom's Navy Star dress he had chosen. I wore Dad's old unit t-shirt under my blazer.
His eye twitched.
Grant glad-handed the crowd, staring us like props. The ceremony at courthouse steps dripped practiced emotion. As the color guard approached, instinct lifted me. Grant's grip tightened.
Sit.
You're blocking the shot. I stayed standing. The slap came fast. Roy Calder's salute broke the shock. Photographers clicked. Beth Morrison, young Tribune freelancer, recorded on her phone. Grant announced loudly I'd been drinking. But damage spread. Security footage and town cameras captured it clearly. Mayor called recess. Mom refused to leave with him. Beth approached me directly. Roy and veterans offered support. Your dad would be proud. Standing tall runs in the family. That night I uploaded video. Photos of salutes. The bruise forming on my cheek. The financial file told one story. This showed Grant's true character. By morning, Roy arrived with coffee and purpose. May Donnelly, former youth fund treasurer pushed out for asking questions, joined. In my car, on neutral ground, they shared evidence. Photos showing claimed 200 attendees but only 60. Deposit slips of anonymous cash donations just under reporting thresholds matching withdrawals from Mercer Mechanical. At the diner on Route 40, Beth brought 3 years of tax filings with impossible math. Nate Sullivan from the bank shared public documents, claimed $500,000 in assets but actual balance under $50,000. Whitfield Strategies had invoiced $400,000 over 2 years for non-existent events. The web connected. Venues never booked. Corporate parties billed to the fund. Grant stealing from Gold Star families using their names for tax breaks. Allies gathered. Caterers tired of fake invoices. Rental companies billing and used equipment. Printers producing banners for paper-only events. Kayla, Grant's assistant, appeared one evening. Mascara streaked. She created Whitfield Strategies on his orders. Thought it was tax strategy until realizing the theft. She handed over flash drive with emails, recordings, handwritten routing numbers. Her nephew's recent enlistment broke her silence. May shared board meeting recording where Grant threatened her with insinuations of senility. I reviewed everything overnight. Grant's casual voice. Add another 0. Donors don't track details. Timeline expanded. Test emails to Whitfield for pre-existing services. VAT inquiries prompting panicked record alterations. Warehouse visit revealed in used youth fund supplies dated after alleged events. Board members receiving small consulting fees for silence. Grant installed new cameras, changed passwords, argued about plausible deniability. I gave him rope, mentioned concerns about audit trails, offered to help clean up. He spent hours creating retroactive, fake documentation while Kayla reported back. Nate flagged transfers to regulators. Beth filed FOIA requests. Roy gathered veterans denied promise services. Grant's fatal error, $200,000 direct transfer to Mercer Mechanical labeled equipment purchase. No invoice. Scared people make mistakes. I compiled a 247-page whistleblower complaint with forensics, affidavits, recordings, Flag Day video. Prosecutors at State Bureau of Financial Integrity, DA's office, FBI white collar took interest. Warrants coordinated for Veterans Day. Mom moved to Mays with protection documents. Veterans Day morning. Warrants executed while Grant prepared at Town Square oblivious. Phone seized. I arrived at 10:45. By 11 a.m. Ceremony began. Color guard advanced. Grant spoke of sacrifice and legacy from the podium. When the flag passed, every veteran stood. Fear flickered in his eyes. As he claimed continued leadership, agents stepped forward. Grant Mercer, you're under arrest for wire fraud, money laundering, theft from charitable organization. Crowd erupted. Grant protested as handcuffs clicked. Beth's report hit online instantly. Board voted immediate termination. Restored May as treasurer. Projection screen played assault video. Recordings. Documents. Margaret Chin Wilson confronted him sharply. A child's voice cut through. Mommy? Why is Mr. Mercer in handcuffs? Because he stole from soldiers' families. Mom spoke at the microphone, honoring Dad's memory and my courage. The entire square rose for the flag properly. Grant's empire crumbled. 25 years prison. Restitution. Ban from charities. Mercer Mechanical became the Tom Hale Veteran Center. Mom divorced quietly. I resigned. Started independent consulting exposing nonprofit fraud, especially veterans organizations. 1 year later, traditions continued. Trust rebuilt. A gold star mother thanked me simply. Evil wins when good people sit down. Not on my watch. The flag still flies in Mountain View. When it passes, everyone stands. What would you have done?